We are on the fourth chapter, second verse. That's yeah, fourth chapter, second verse. We did the first verse, and the second verse is that indeed is fire. That indeed is the sun. That indeed is the air, and that indeed is the moon. That indeed is pure. That indeed is Brahman. That indeed is water, and that is Prajapati. The commentator says you've got to add indeed in front of every word because the first was started that indeed is fire. Tadevagnis tad adityas tad vayus tadu chandramaha. Tadeva shukram tad brahma tad tadapas tat prajapati.
Tadapas. Tad is indeed.
Sorry?
Tad is it means indeed.
No, eva. Tad eva.
Eva.
Tad eva. Tad eva. Tat is that. That. Because yeah, that is it. Now, that's why in the one of the great sayings of the Upanishads is Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. Now, what is that? I mean, it wanted to be gender neutral. There's always, there's something called, sometimes the sages use the female, sometimes the male, sometimes the neuter, it. And this is what it's saying, that reality. Now, that reality is saying is fire, is the sun, is the air, is the moon, that is pure, that is Brahman, that is water, that's Prajapati. It means that is not just excluding everything else, what has not been enumerated. It includes everything. It means that is everything. Now, when you said that is everything, we come to the idea. Yes, this reality is here. You, me, she, this, that, everything is there. Now, why don't we see that as it is? What happens is, you know, like, take for instance, as a part of my Sunday talk, I was just kind of practicing. Mm, we are now the products of the genetic code, evolution. Evolution has sculpted us for millions and billions of years, gradually over time. Everything that has life has a kind of a genetic code. Our entire evolutionary history is written in that genetic code. The tree, plant. So it has sprung up from one source. That's the reason why there's a kind of a similar genetic code. The tree and an animal, bird, human, everything. It's an amazing, you can say, display of life. Now, if you say that reality was at the root of this whole manifestation, yes. So, if the cause was that, the pot, but if you can say, yeah, it's an earthen pot, it's a clay pot. We tend to forget the clay part and just get fixated on the pot. So the clay has what it just transformed itself into a pot. So why don't you say this is a clay also? You say yes, it is clay, but it is in the form of a pot. Exactly This is exactly what the sage is trying to tell you. That is fire, that is the sun, that is air, that is water, that is pure, that is Brahman, that is Prajapati, that is everything. That's the moon, Chandrama, everything. Now, let's go slightly a notch higher than the kind of genetic codes that we are talking about and evolution. Now, each and every cell in our body is a tiny battery. The inside of a cell is negatively charged and outside is positively charged. So sodium and iron, forget that. But then each and every cell has intelligence and also kind of a energy. Now our body is made out of 37 or something about trillion cells. Each one is a kind of a battery and each one is intelligent, but the whole thing is combined in a kind of an organism. And the organism listens to a central command, the voice. So what's that? That is the mind. So what we are actually doing is we are a mass of energy and we interact with masses of energy. At one level, that energy is giving rise to these forms and we are perceiving it. Wow, it's like this, it's like that. But underneath is just that display of energy. I am a mass of energy. My energy moves out, energy comes in. So we are interacting with the world with nothing but it's just a field, as Einstein would say. The whole thing is a kind of a energy field giving rise to forms, dissolving. So here we are, it's a kind of a, we are a battery. Oh yes, in fact, many people do not realize that the idea of pranayama and etc., what these people practice, they have just missed the entire, you can say, philosophy of prana. Prana is a life force. And what is that? It is harmonizing that energy in you, making it rhythmic. And how do you do that? Through breaking the motion of your breath. Inhale, hold, exhale. So you get a grip on the rhythm. And as that rhythm, you get a grip on the rhythm, what happens is your entire organism is now in a harmonious state of transcendence. So you transcend this level of energy. And then you find that life energy is everywhere. So if you can control one wave in the ocean, you can control of prana, you can control all the waves in the ocean. So that leaves an enormous, you can say, responsibility in a person who has attained that state of controlling one's own energies. So this whole universe is a kind of a popping out forms. Language and these forms, name and form, somehow hide the reality. So what's, hey, I'm seeing everybody, yes, but there's something behind. We were just discussing this before the class. So when the sage is saying that indeed is fire, that indeed is the sun, that indeed is the air, that indeed is moon, these luminaries, that indeed is pure, that is Brahman, that is water, and that is the firstborn Prajapati, from where everyone is born. Praja is beings, Pati is Lord, Lord of all beings. So everything, saying yes, everything. And what's that source? Oh, the source. That's life pulsating all over the place. Today we call this insentient, but tomorrow it's not insentient. Uh, Maybe it decays in the mud, the clay, it becomes clay, and then out of that a seed sprouts and absorbs what was the chair. So we cannot call anything insentient. Energy is energy. It's neither sentient or insentient. It is when the mind joins itself to that, then it becomes. Now, this whole universe is that, see, universe, yeah, yes, the whole universe. Even that distant galaxy out there, yes, distant galaxies rather, yes, it's all just force, life force of energy. What is insentient? Like our bodies are made out of, they say that stars have to explode in a supernova to give us this material that is now there in our body. So if you say, oh, we were really born in those stars, the stars had to die. They never had to die, but they had to transform themselves and blow apart and seed the whole universe with these heavy elements. I was just thinking, I was telling somebody, there was a California gold rush and a lot of people came in. But they said that gold was in California. It wasn't manufactured here in California. It was discovered, but its origins were in those supernovas. Oh yes, boom.
Wow.
Yes. So our origins might not be here. It might be somewhere distant. We think, oh, it does not matter if there's a galaxy and no, it matters to you. In a very indirect way, we are all connected. This whole universe. That's why this is called, it's Brahmanda. That's the, you can say, the plane of Brahma. Nothing is outside it. Everything in this plane of existence is significant. And that's the reason why we tell people you don't have to be lonely or feel alone. Why should you? You are actually connected to the whole. And here you are thinking you're lonely. So what happens is when these negative thoughts come, the energy level goes down. Instead of energizing us, uh, the energies come from external. We become a little depressed. Oh, nobody loves me. They're the beloved. We just discuss about the beloved. Uh, the the reality is beloved. It's prayer. It's beloved. Why should you have something dry? It's love, and you find this love is manifested everywhere. Everything that has life, that has energy, has love. Everything. So here we are in that ceaseless mass of energy, the field, and it's giving rise to something which is the names and form, yet they are joined together through love. That energy is not something like neutral, no, positive, negative, no, it's love. It's a love energy. And we are in this ocean. And this is what the sage, when he declares that is fire, that is the sun, that is pure, that is the moon, that is water, that is Prajapati, that is human. It is he's ecstatic about it. Here we are. The next mantra also is of the same. That's the reason why we went uh, a little more than what is really required. So this is an verse which is found in one of the older sections of the Vedas called the Vajaseniya Samhita. Of course, the next one is uh, oft quoted, and even Swami Vivekananda has quoted in his first uh, Parliament of Religions, 1893. He quotes this verse. He quotes a few verses from here, like "You are the children of immortal bliss." It's found here, and this also here. He says, uh, fourth chapter, third verse. So it's on there, 143. You are the woman, you are the man, you are the boy, and you are the girl too. You are the old man tottering with a stick, taking birth. You have your faces everywhere. There you have. We're talking about faces, the faces of the beloved. Yeah. So from nature, he's saying he covered everything with nature of nature. Oh, yeah, fine, okay. Air, water, fire, all these things. Then it's only that no. Those things give rise to these things. So it's like Tvam Stri, Tvam Pumanasi, Tvam Kumara Utava Kumari, Tvam Jirno Dande Navanchasi, Tvam Jato Bhavato Bhavasi Vishvato Mukha. So it's a beautiful thing. So when we look at a person, let's go back to that clay and the pot. The clay is the cause, the primary cause of the pot. And there's a secondary cause, the potter. Otherwise, it does not simply. So there is a secondary cause called the potter. Let's forget you have to have a wheel and you have to have water and all these things. Okay. So when we see the pot now, we say, okay, this is the material called clay, which is now in the form the pot. And there is something called another instrumental cause, the material cause and the instrumental cause, the potter. I don't ask about the potter's father also can be a cause. Yes, in fact, this was discussion. Many of these schools of logic, they no, you keep your inquiry till up till year. Then you'll have to get that potter's grandfather and great grandfather. Don't. In logic, this is sufficient to understand your point. So, so you have two causes: the material cause and the instrumental cause. And Vedanta says that God is the both the material cause and the instrumental cause. He creates this universe out of his own body, God's body. That's the material. Wow! Because the moment you say this is God and this is the material, you are going to fall into big trouble. Don't separate things. You bring both this. And God has a kind of a power. That's the instrumental God. Eko ham bhavisham. I am one. Let me be many. God became many. So when we see that reality from one standpoint, you see it as the material universe. Okay, fine. We have the long evolution and genes and this and that, and then on a deeper level, you find It's a ceaseless flow of energy, and on a deeper level, we find it is all mind. Because when I know an object, I need to see. When I see, I know. In every act of perception, there is knowledge. Everything. So when I see this watch, I have a knowledge of the watch. I may not have the specific watchmaker's knowledge, but I do know the watch. This is the watch, and I'm using it, and that's fine with me. If you want to go deep, you can go deep inside, but then it's not necessary. But every perception has knowledge. So then we go higher. So what's the nature of that mind? Knowledge. So you can say knowledge is that existence. Yes, you can say it's existence. And that's the reason why they say that it is chit, it is consciousness, it's that knowledge. That is reality. Now you're saying, okay, now fine, you say that you are the woman, you are the man. It's not just the external form of the man, a woman, a boy, or a girl, or the old man. Nothing, nothing. It's just this, we are just units, all units of that reality. And we have given these names. This is the boy, and this is the girl, and this is the young man, and this is the old man walking around tottering with a stick, with a cane, as they say. Uh, yeah, in India, have these old men. So, and he says, you have your faces everywhere. Taking birth, you have faces. That is taking form, you have. And every face is that face of the beloved. Let's come back to that. Every face is a face of the beloved. What's a beloved? That is God. Yeah. Because it is only when love becomes unselfish, it becomes love. The love between two people has a tremendous degree of unselfishness. Otherwise, you will never be able to love. Love has spilled out, and then we have children. The very nature of love is to expand, 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 expand. At the moment you confine that love only to yourself, okay, fine, you love yourself, okay, fine, you become selfish. And then as you keep on expanding your love, you become more and more selfish. Anybody even stumbling on the street, you get a kind of a shock. Oh, oh, thank God he never fell down, or something like that. Your love has now expanded and expanded. So when you can feel that, you felt God. Do I need to go to heaven? Do I need? No. You are experiencing that divinity there. You're experiencing that God. Whenever you feel love, and with that love, there's always bliss, that happiness. Because love always reacts in the something holding me back or that person holding it. So let go. So this sage has let go, and there it is. So this also is an old, you can say, mantra. This is used by many Vedantins to show that the reality is this. Yeah, say we do not know. No, I've had enough of this. Okay, this is the path. If you say, let's enjoy these things, what's wrong with this? Perfectly okay. You go ahead. We are not going to berate anyone, or criticize anyone, deride anyone. This guy. No, because that also is the reality. So when the mind matures, when the energies are mature, when they're expanding, then you say there has to be something more to this than just this, my life. And then what do I do? Then I search for that path. And Sri Ramakrishna is in fact clear. The moment you become a seeker of truth, grace has already dawned on you. Yes, it's very clear. It's a result of grace. And that's why we should also be fortunate. Oh, God, yeah, fine. Yeah, that's it. The grace of the divine is there. Something. And then also, you've gone through n number of experiences that have awakened you, started you questioning about this thing, what you're doing. Is my life just this or something more than this? And then you come, yes, my life is something more than what people think about it, or even I used to think about it, something more. What's that? Then we start opening ourselves in these higher dimensions. It's not just going there, it's going. And those higher dimensions open up. It's symbolically called a kind of a the opening of these chakras or the centers of consciousness. It's nothing but Sri Ramakrishna gives the example, illustration of, you know, in uh, in India, these fishermen, they have some kind of net where the fish enter inside, and they cannot return exactly as they came in. They could have, but they don't. They go and get caught in the net, and they burrow themselves in the mud, thinking that they are safe. Well, they're hauled. There you go. So the way we came and got caught, if we could have understood that we need to go back on the same way. I was asking one gentleman, Patrick, he comes, where is this mustard plants all spread all over California? So, there was a kind of explorer who came and exploring these areas, and he threw around mustard seeds so that when he returns, he'll know his trail. This was the path. And in time, they proliferated everywhere. But then so we have done a stupid thing. We should have marked our trail. We came this side. We need to go back. And we could have done that. And Vedanta says this. This is the way you came in. You got caught. Come back. And the whole thing is go back inside. So what if you came out? You had your thing here, and you had enough. You want to escape? Retrace those steps. And that's why Vedanta becomes so simple. You say, why? It's not something new, something unknown, a path. You have traversed down this path. You need to go back. Then the soul understands, oh wow, there I am. Then he will see that what he or she had done all this. And there will be absolutely no regrets about what one has done, the good, the bad, or evil, nothing. Nothing. There will be such tremendous knowledge and love and bliss. The other things, it doesn't matter. I come down to this. So this is what Vedanta is preaching. We take the next verse, and this is also in the same, you can say, line of what we've been reading. You indeed are the blue bee. You indeed are the green parrot having red eyes. You indeed are possessed of lightning in your womb. You indeed are the seasons and the seas. You indeed are without beginning. You exist as the omnipresent from whom have sprung all the worlds. Here it is. Neelaha patango harito lohitakshas tadit garvar tava samudraha anadimatvam vibhutve navartase yatu jatani bhuvanani vishva. So here, uh, this sage, he must have been in his hermitage. And then you have a forest. You can see you had these beautiful butterflies, the bees, the blue bees, and then you had these parakeets, parrots with blue, and then the green parrot with red eyes, and then you say, and there's a scene nearby. It's probably that obviously he's looking around. Hey, you are that, you are that, you are that, you are that, you are that. So it's that kind of mm, innocence that this person looks about, this sage Svetashvatra looks about. Hey, you are that, you are that, you too are that. So he is enumerating what he is seeing. And as he's saying, oh, and you are everything. Then he says that, yeah, you indeed are the seasons and the seas, and you indeed are without beginning, and you exist as omnipresent from whom have sprung. So uh, when you see this, that lightning in the womb, it's not nothing to do with the kind of lightning in the womb. Womb is like, no, it's a rain cloud. It's pregnant with rain, and lightning flashes, and then comes rain. And in India, we call them monsoons. Uh, it is now extremely hot out there. Somebody was telling me, extremely. They're all waiting for the monsoons, and when it comes, it's delightful. I mean, everything comes green and so beautiful. That parched earth and withered trees suddenly. So here, this person who's looking at nature around is probably after the monsoons. He's seeing everything is beautiful and full of life. So the seasons and the seas and seas, it's the winds, the rain bearing clouds, they are carried by these north, northwest, southwest monsoon winds, southwest. Right down, they come from that Arabian Sea, and then they come out Indian Ocean, and they drop all that. So the sea also is involved in that because uh, the clouds form of the seas, heat. So then he ends with, "You are without beginning. You exist as omnipresent from whom have sprung all the world." So all the worlds in the sense, we have one earth here, but in this earth there are multiple worlds. Every species has a has got its own life, its own world. And as these species, one species needs another. You may say, "Oh, that's the prey and the predator." That's only on the surface. That each world is constantly interacting, and there are millions and millions and millions of tiny worlds in this one world of ours. Yeah, it's at every level you get amazed. Sri Ramakrishna one time He was taking a trip back to his native place, and we have something like the bullock carts in India, and they had tarried a while. And then he gets down and he runs towards the meadow and sees how living beings sustain themselves. And he was amazed. He's seen those ants and this and that. Oh, so yes, it is like, if we could only keep our minds and eyes open for things around, oh, it is so beautiful. So I cannot understand why people go to churches and temples and mosques and synagogues, gurudwaras. You can go, but you see this divinity all around. It is so beautiful, it's so fragile, at the same time, so tough. Yeah, how life is so tough. And even if you go deep in the Mariana Trench, and then you find there life also. Amazing. So, if we cannot see this thing, and you say, I want to see God. There's some guy, how do I realize God? I said, you keep your eyes open and keep your awareness heightened and go about things. Go do everything what you have to do. Good. You'll see your consciousness changing with that. When you see everything in creation. So what do you need to see God? You see this itself is that forms of God. And this is what, yeah, the sages says. You exist as omnipresent. So people say, oh yeah, we have to see God. Yeah, yeah. You are seeing God's majesty and beauty and power and love everywhere. And what do you want to see God as a kind of an old man or a old woman there, in some place? What has given you this idea there? Yeah, cultural baggage. Yeah. So Swami Vivekananda quotes, I think, a poet. Uh, this whole world is his poem, coming in verses and rhymes, written in infinite bliss. Here we are. It's a tremendous, you can say, statement that you don't need to go anywhere to see the God or the reality or the truth. First, recognize that you are that. You're part of that whole. And then one day will come when the whole screen falls off. Swami Vivekananda also gives the example of, like, you are standing behind a screen and you do not know what's behind on the other side of the screen. So a small hole appears, and as it appears, it grows larger and larger and larger. And as it grows larger, you see more of that scene behind us. You're on this side of the screen. It gets larger and larger and larger. What's happening? Nothing is changing. That reality which you are seeing is not changing. You are not changing. It is that perforation that's growing larger and larger. This is nature. She somehow came between us and the reality. And according to the Sankhya philosopher, they say nature get out, move out. I've got work to do. Take another soul and lead him or her, and then get out. So, evolution in nature and manifestation of spirit. You manifest the spirit more and more and more. Nature is there to actually help us. The moment you understand this, nature is delusive, nature is terrible. Wait. Nature has been guiding you all through, taking care of you, feeding you, clothing you, doing everything for you. And you say nature is deluding? Nature wouldn't like that. Huh, huh. So we call this, the personal aspect is called the Divine Mother. Divine Mother is leading you to. If you want to go fast, she'll push you back. Hey, go, get going. If you take your time, take your time. All fine with me. And that is what this sage is saying. You are omnipresent, from where have sprung all the worlds and everything. So these are these great verses in this Svetashvatara Upanishad that shows that the reality is this, this. And so is this, yeah, it's a kind of a screen comes out of eyes, from front of eyes, and we see then that we are made of the same stuff. Everything is actually it's everything is of the same stuff. If you say it's matter, then all matter is of is same. If you say it's energy, we say okay, let's look at down at a genetic level. Yes, they're all the same. And the banana has got more genes than human beings. So what?
Banana?
Yeah, yeah, you see. And we are as close to the chimpanzee orangutans then, and we dare to admit it. But what I mean to say is that everything has got a common source. This is what he's saying. From whom have sprung all the worlds. In the Upanishads, as well as the Bhagavad Gita, the kind of a illustration of a tree with its roots up and branches below, shooting down and down. Tadeva Shukram, that is pure. So it has branched down. That reality has come down, manifesting itself. And all the flowers and fruits and twigs and branches and n number of things. And the individual souls are like those small birds on that tree, jumping over here and there. It sustains everything. So we don't see a upside down tree. Of course, we don't see an upside down tree. We never see a roots up and oh yeah, there are some uh, trees with aerial roots. And besides, if you go to you can say shoreline of a lake or whatever, and you see the tree there standing there, you can see its reflection. Oh, it's upside down. Hey, there. So our vision needs to be corrected. It's like something when we look at people, there's a kind of an inverted image in our eyes, and then all those nerves, optic nerves, carry those sensations there, and the brain writes it. I'll be talking about the topic on illusions next Tuesday. So something has seeped in. Yeah. So we stop here for today and we take a few questions.